You know, some stories, they don't just scare you. They get under your skin. They stick with you long after the lights come on. This is one of those stories. It's about a family, the Harris family, who just wanted a fresh start, a quiet life. But sometimes, the places you run to are haunted by things far worse than the things you're running from. Their story begins, as many do, with a dream. The Harris family, John, a software guy, his wife Sarah, an artist, and their two kids, 16-year-old Emily and 10-year-old Leo, were done with the noise and the concrete of New York City. They found this old Victorian house, a real classic, you know, right on the edge of a place called Blackwood Lake, surrounded by deep woods. From the outside, it was a picture-perfect dream. "Can you believe the peace and quiet?" Sarah said, a hopeful smile on her face as they stepped out of their truck. The house was grand, 2 stories of weathered wood and a big porch. But the moment they stepped inside, a chill, a heavy, silent cold that had nothing to do with the weather. It was the kind of quiet that feels watchful. The first few weeks were fine. Unpacking boxes, painting walls, John and Sarah were trying to breathe life into the old place. Emily was moody, missing her friends, mostly hiding in her room. But the first real sign that something was wrong came from little Leo. He started talking about a new friend, a friend named Silas. "Mom," he said one evening at the dinner table, "Silas says he likes to play hide and seek." Sarah just smiled. "That's nice, honey, after you finish your dinner." An imaginary friend. Normal, right? That's what they told themselves. But then the noises started. The faint thump, thump, thump of footsteps from the empty second floor in the middle of the night. Whispers, like the wind talking through a crack in the wall, that would stop the second you tried to listen. Sarah would get this feeling, this prickling on the back of her neck, that someone was standing right behind her. Thank. One night, John was working on his laptop when, crash, a deafening sound from the kitchen. He ran in, expecting to see shattered plates everywhere. But there was nothing. Every dish was in its cabinet, every glass on its shelf. The only thing out of place was a puddle of still water on the floor, spreading like a dark stain. "This is getting weird," John admitted. "Must be old pipes." But Sarah knew. She knew it wasn't the pipes. And Leo, he was changing. They'd find him sitting in the darkest corners of the house, staring at the basement door, whispering to the air. "Silas says this is his house," Leo told his mother one day. His eyes had this strange old look in them, in a soul of a pop. "He says we have to leave." That's when Sarah got really scared. She drove into town, to the local library, and asked the old librarian, a man named Mr. Abernathy, about the house. When she gave him the address, his face went pale, the kind of pale you see on a man who's seen a ghost. "You're living in the Blackwood Manor, one shot," he whispered. "I love the Chickenator," I cry. That place is cursed." He told her the legend. 100 years ago, a man named Silas Blackwood lived there with his family. Silas was a cruel, paranoid man. One winter, the entire family just vanished. "Oh, the police never found their bodies," said Chica. The local story, the one whispered for generations, was that Silas had walled his own family up, alive, somewhere inside the house. And then he'd walked into the lake and drowned himself. That night, all hell broke loose. A storm rolled in over the lake, and the sky turned black. The lights in the house flickered and died. The whispers weren't whispers anymore. They were a single angry command, echoing from the walls themselves. "Pop, get out." Emily came screaming out of her room, her face white with terror. "My phone," There was a face in my phone, she cried, showing them the blank screen. For just a second, she'd seen the face of a man with sunken, hateful eyes staring back at her. And then, boom, the basement door flew open on its own. Leo, his eyes glazed over, started walking slowly, deliberately, towards the open door and down the stairs like he was in a trance. "Leo, stop!" Sarah screamed. John and Sarah chased him down into the cold, damp basement. The air was thick with the smell of wet earth and rot. Leo stood in front of a section of stone wall, patting it gently. "Silas is in here," he said, but the voice that came out wasn't a child's voice. It was deep, guttural, and full of ancient rage. John touched the wall. It felt hollow. Grabbing a sledgehammer left by the previous owners, he took a deep breath and swung it against the plaster. It shattered, revealing a dark, cramped space behind it. Inside, covered in a century of dust and cobwebs, were 3 skeletons, a woman and 2 children, huddled together, and lying between them was an old, leather-bound diary. The moment Sarah's fingers touched the diary, a shriek filled the air. A tall, thin shadow tore itself from the walls and solidified before them. It was him, Silas Blackwood. His eyes burned with a cold, glue fire. "My family, my house," the spirit roared, lunging towards Leo. "This person was willing to let the chicken go find," said the chicken we placed. "Sarah, the diary," John yelled. "Don't let me. Burn it. It must be what's tying him here." With trembling hands, Sarah fumbled for a lighter in her pocket and set the brittle pages of the diary on fire. As the flames consumed the book, the ghost of Silas began to writhe and scream. His form flickered and dissolved, and with one last, soul-tearing shriek that echoed off the stone walls, he vanished into nothing. And then, silence. The heavy, oppressive silence of the grave. The Harris family didn't wait for morning. They didn't pack a thing. They got in their truck and they just drove, leaving the lights of that cursed town in their rearview mirror. They say the family survived, but if you were to pass by Blackwood Lake on a quiet night, you might just see it. The old house, standing like a dark tombstone against the sky, waiting. And you'd know that the Harris family left a piece of their souls in that house, a piece that will never, ever be free.